Great afternoon, everybody. We are here in the Lion's Den with Pastor Spence, getting ready to do a recap of the series that we're on titled Leverage. Today's topic was Stay in the House, though. So a part of that series, it truly was a blessing. I believe it blessed Jalen. Definitely blessed me. So we are here at the Lion's Den to get a little bit more about just the inspiration behind the sermon and just Pastor's thoughts and his train of thought putting this whole thing together.
Cool. First of all, let me touch on the Lion's Den. Shoot, man, I got for young guns. One of the things I don't want to do in ministry is pass a cane when I should be passing a baton. Dr. Bowen taught us that in leadership. So many times we don't prepare for succession. So God just kind of placed it upon my heart. You guys came to me. And I said, man, I need some young cats. All of these dudes are in their 20s. Carrington, he's in his 20s. So I just wanted to raise up some young leaders in the church. So I call them the Young Lions. So whenever we hang out in the crib, we hang out in the Lion's Den. So to touch on what you asked, the inspiration behind the sermon, it's so much going on. People got so many worries and so much anxiety. Sunday before this Sunday, I preached on leverage. I just felt like God was doing something with leverage. But immediately after I got out of a meeting and I read my email this past week, I had an email from my pastor, Dr. Ari Vernon from the Word Church, Cleveland, Ohio, and he was encouraging all of his sons to kind of join in his series, and that's what I dropped on y'all today, was part 2, leverage part 2, stay in the house. That whole concept comes from the Passover. Jewish people all over the world, they still celebrate Passover because that was a significant event in the history of Israel. That was the night that God sent the 10th plague against the nation of Israel, where he had the death angel take the firstborn son from every family, every Egyptian family, even the animals, the firstborn of the animals. All of those lost their lives on that night, but not a thing touched Israel. And the reason it didn't touch Israel is because they put the blood of the lamb, they sacrificed the lamb under the specific instructions from God, and they placed the blood on the doorpost of the house, on the top and on both sides. And when the death angels passed, nobody from Israel was touched. I believe this is significant because you got this pandemic, Corona, COVID-19, Rona, Hunty, whatever you want to call it. It's doing some damage, man, and I'm concerned about how quickly it's spreading, and maybe we need to do a little more. So I thought it was twofold: to stay under the blood, stay in the house, but also literally to just stay in the house. The way we flatten that curve, the way we get this thing turned around, it's going to take people being willing to stay in the house. So we preach that from a spiritual perspective, from a physical perspective, and that's why most of you that are streaming with me now and watching this broadcast, then you're in the house while you're watching it because you understand. So I put out a release. I just felt it was necessary for everybody connected to Global Impact Christian Ministries. I consider myself to be a pretty good pastor, but I'm also involved in the community. So for this community, Stockbridge, Henry County, the metropolitan area of Atlanta, let's just stay in the house and let's rock out on this series because it was so much that God wanted to say to us. So that's the inspiration behind Stay in the House.
Another question for you. Notice you said this during the sermon. You was talking about how, a lot of people, even when staying in the house, you were saying, you've expressed to your staff, those around you, that we hold a position in the communities as essentials. It may not look like, because we're not police officers or we're not medical staff or whatever, but us in the body of Christ leaders, we hold an essential part in the community.
Yeah, we understand what the political figures need for us to do, and I agree wholeheartedly that the building needs to be closed. But that does not mean that the church has to be closed. So never want to put any of my leaders at risk, but we understand that a part of what we do, it is essential. Because if the grocery stores are essential, that's physical food. But what I do, man, is I serve up spiritual food. We serving up spiritual food right now. So I'm never going to put my staff in harm's way. But as long as we take the necessary precautions, we're still making deliveries to senior citizens. Just 10 this past week. We took stuff all down in Hampton. We get around, man. So we're still doing ministry. We're still taking care of parents that need help with the lunch programs being out while school is out. And for the foreseeable future, that thing is probably going to last deep into April. So we're poised, we're prepared, we're going to take the necessary precautions, and we're going to do the things that we need to do. So yes, I do believe a part of the church is essential. We got to continue to do some things. We close the doors of the church. We don't worship publicly together until we get this thing fixed. But we still remain open and poised and in a posture where we can continue to meet the needs of the community that we serve. That's the mark of a true apostolic church, is your level of effect in the community that you serve. I believe simply this, Jalen, Sharman, if God used this cosmic prerogative to zap global impact off of the face of the earth, if it's no longer there at 125 Red Oak Road, Stockbridge, Georgia, somebody ought to miss us. And if nobody misses us, then we haven't made our impact. If this church leaves Stockbridge, Georgia, the whole city should fill the void if we have to leave, or if God decided that we were no longer necessary. If we do it right, then we make that kind of impact.
So, what would you say from people you talk to throughout the community, whether it's the elders all the way down to school teachers, people who've been affected, can't go into their workplace, or people who have been displaced from working at all? What would you say the overall outlook has been so far from the people you've been talking to? Do you feel like people have been encouraged at this moment? Is it just all over the place?
Well, I think the initial thing that people have to get a grip of is change. And change is inevitable. I mean, you go through, that was a moment, you may not believe it, but I used to have as much hair as you. But it changed. Change, I think there's a song called Change. Things always change, but it takes people a long time to come to grips with change. And so once I get comfortable with my new norm, then they kind of settle in. But then there's this doubt, uncertainty, when is it going to end? And then am I going to be able to make it? So there's a lot of worries, anxiety. You got doubt all wrapped in that thing. And then the main thing, I don't want to get this thing. You know, I think I'm going to be okay. And I don't want anybody, you know, when you look at it, it's just a number. And many people say, well, it's 85% recovery rate. Well, that's good for the people that recover, but what about the people that didn't recover? And if it don't touch you because you didn't know them, then that's something a little different that we got to reconsider. If it touched any life, then it's important for us to understand that it's something we need to take better care of. So it's important. I think that's really important. But they're all over the place, and I just always try to provide like a sense of hope. I think that's what people need most now, is they just want hope. They want to believe that this thing is going to be over. I think for those that watch my Wednesday night broadcast, I talk about that two sides of the coin and giving people hope in a hopeless situation. So that's what our job is. You know, we're not dope dealers, but we got to be what? Hope dealers, baby. Yeah.
And to kind of touch on what you just said, I think I guess it's not funny, it's not coincidental. It goes back to being before God prior to, not just when things happen. And one thing that I noticed just of how effective and just what a blessing the timing was, we begin to kind of start this tithing challenge. And around this time, it's like, you know, where a lot of people are not working. You know, a lot of people are really being affected by the coronavirus, and for you to have started that prior to coronavirus hitting, and then we're still blessing people that really need it. Not only just, you know, trying to teach them the importance of tithing, but those same people are like, okay, I'm going to continue to give, but even in that, they're still being blessed, kind of just seeing how just God works in our obedience. Like, what is your perspective looking at that from a view of, we did start that and now this is going on? Okay.
Well, it's kind of, as a pastor, you're not just a pastor, you also are a prophet. And one of the things you got to do is keep your prophetic edge sharp. Back in August of 2019, God instructed me for the last quarter of the year, for 91 days, for us to go on a 91-day challenge. Every morning, waking up, meditating over Psalm 91, and just really committing that scripture to heart. Yeah, I didn't know what God was going to do with that or what he was exactly preparing us for, but I did sense that 2020 would be one of those cyclical years where it's going to be some good in 2020. This first quarter seemed like it busted everybody in the face. You know, Mike Tyson said everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
It's clear to me that 2020 has punched us all in the mouth. So how do we recover? How do we regroup? So keeping that prophetic edge, you know, we are, you know, a grace-giving church. We give from reciprocity what God gives to us. We even call our giving format stress-free giving. All of that is good, but God says, hey, listen, I don't want you to forget to teach my people my principles. I still believe in the tithe. I've always believed in the tithe. And it had been about a year and a half, 2 years before I actually taught on tithing. And the reason God wanted me to teach on tithing this time was because he expressed to me that it was a trust issue. And a lot of people had trust issues when it pertains to that thing that they really covet and cherish the most. So I really believe this backs up to the pandemic because, you know, if I'm going to trust God to keep me in this pandemic, and surely I ought to be able to trust him with a dime. And the good news report is that people have continued to give. And we anticipate that there may be some people from the church that may get caught up as collateral damage. You may lose your job. You may be out of work for a while. One of the reasons tithing and giving is so important is because this church is poised to jump in and help. You know, even during the challenge, we've been paying people's power bills and things like that. For Easter, I hope I got at least 20 business owners that are in the community that will partner with me. I got this crazy idea that I'm gonna take care of 20 people's mortgage for the month of May at the Easter service. So if you're a small business owner right here in the city of Stockbridge or Henry County, hook your boy up. Take care of a family with me. I believe that we can take care of. I got 20 business owners that will help me do that. I mean, it's all about, you know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The power of collaboration is so real. We can get other people to help us out. So the tithing challenge is just keeping that prophetic edge, hearing from God and doing what we need to do.
Amen. Amen.
So, I know going back to your message, I know the series is called Leverage. So, with people being inside the house, we're trying to flatten the curve and also just tell them to stay in the house. So, while people are home, what are some of the ways that they can leverage this time?
Next Sunday, when we meet for worship, I already see it. One of the greatest assets that you're gonna see that you have in this time that we're trying to use our leverage is time. Time is the most precious commodity that you possess. And a lot of you are seeing it took COVID-19 for us to see this.
Amen.
It took us staying in the house for us to see this. But a lot of us realize that these 24 hours that we get every day, these 1,440 minutes that we get every day, many of us have been mismanaging it. So what do we do with this time that we have now? Staying in the house, you're gonna find out that this is gonna be a financial blessing to you as well. You're gonna see how much money you can save when you just really go to the store, buy groceries, and ration the food out. Ration the food out. Don't eat all your food in one day. If you do this, you're gonna see that, hey man, maybe I spent too much. When I use my leverage, I'm gonna start looking at, hey, this one thing this shutdown showed me, or staying in the house showed me, is that when I get out of the house, I have a propensity and a tendency to spend more money than what I really should. So now I gotta start working, taking that time to work on projects, things that I've been putting off. I believe that there are gonna be books written in this stay in the house moment. I believe that there's gonna be great business ideas that come forth from this stay in the house moment. But it's all up to you and how you leverage this particular situation. I believe that marriages can get better in the next 2 to 3 weeks, or you can really find out what the issues are in your marriage, because when you're in the house and when you're in each other's space, you get to really figure out what kind of marriage you really got. Single people, you got time to go through some of them old emails that old boy sent you in the inbox and really figure out, hey, I'm glad I left him alone. You got time to evaluate some stuff. You got time to look at you, see what it is about you that you need to change. So time of reflection, retrospective, and look at yourself. It's so many ways that we can leverage this situation. And finally, you gotta get out there and spend some time with the family. We gonna hang out, do picnics on the lake back there. I'm gonna try to get my wife to do all kind of crazy stuff. Have fun. You know, when the neighbors go to sleep, well, that's another problem that we'll talk about that later. But all kind of things can go down. So I'm excited about staying in the house. And I hope they are too.
Hey man, I think the message that you're on and what we're doing, I think is nothing short of using our leverage, figuring out how to be more creative with reaching the people. and just kind of showing you guys how to be encouraged and stay encouraged throughout this whole process. So this is the Lion's Den. We just ate some good meat. We just feasted up in here. So until next time.
Catch y'all next Sunday.